How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Well, my royal family, y'all know I'm here in Northern California, and there has been major fires for the last 3 weeks. But as far as my memory is concerned, I think the last 3 or 4 years, this time of year, California is literally burning down. And it is no joke. Now, it is further north of me. I would say about another 3 hours from me. So we are not impacted by the fires in California. This picture right here is the one that really stood out to me. Can you imagine driving and seeing this inferno here? You know, you would be thinking I'm going to hell itself. And I got 3 videos that I'm going to play for the royal family. And the last video is the best video. We're going to hear how silly, which is not surprising, how silly Trump is and how silly Trump reacted to these fires and what he is blaming it on. So let's get into it, my royal family. Now, this first video is a more in-depth look. It's about a 4-minute video. You know, you'll hear from some of the various residents and everything. And mainly up in this area is the enemy. Just keep it just like that. Keep it core like I always do.
A fierce firefight tonight. Deborah?
Yeah, Frank, some homes lost, others saved. That's the nature of this battle entering its 2nd week. We are in the deserted town of Clear Lake Oaks right now. The ranch fire is historic. It's one for the record books, but for some people, it's personal.
It was scary. I've been waiting for 4 days for this to happen. I knew it was coming.
When it came, it was fast. An ember caught the house across the street, another lit the hill behind her, and Crystal Easter felt surrounded.
When it was coming from both sides, I started crying, but I was still doing my thing as I was crying, going, God, please no.
Water drops began fast and furious, and engines raced from one ridge over where the fire had jumped the line.
There was no firefighters here whatsoever, so I called 911, and then they finally sent some firefighters because they were all back there paying attention to the fires back there.
Typical of the ranch fire. When it's not churning through forest, it's popping up in more places than crews can get to and taking homes down with it. 75 tally, but that doesn't include the handful we saw leveled in Spring Valley before the sun went down.
What can you say? It makes you sick to your stomach. Everything they worked for all their life gone in a heartbeat.
This homeowner of 26 years had also stayed behind. You think your place was going to go?
Yes. I put my dogs in the car and started it and put the air conditioning on.
What made the difference?
Just these guys working their butt off to keep everything down. They're the heroes. Yep, they done it.
It's unprecedented for these 7 communities.
Lake County Supervisor Jim Steele represents the North and East Shore towns with fire above them and normal life suspended. He knows people are anxious, not just about their homes, but disruption for kids, jobs, school, pets.
There's about 600 people that are in these shelters, but there's 10,000 people that are evacuated. So we don't know where they all are.
CAL FIRE, despite the record size and containment shrinking in recent days, says progress is good, especially on the river fire.
The ranch fire, same deal. We're putting a lot of dozer lines. We're hitting it with the aircraft, cooling it down, and that's letting the ground crews get in there and put out the fire.
All of the fires have been different.
Steele has been through 5 big fires as a supervisor and says this one has been a constant chase. Wind drives it ahead. Crews try to save structures while trying to herd the fire, too.
This fire was dictating where it went. The fire was in command, and these folks were just reacting. They were not in charge of the fire. Just the opposite of what we used to see in the old days.
It's devastating. It's really devastating to see. And so many people lost their homes in the back. There was 9 homes from what I hear in the back, and then obviously it's hit and a miss now.
Fortunately for Crystal, it was a miss. The Mendocino complex fire, in becoming the largest ever, passed the Thomas fire. Frank, Julie, you'll remember that was 281,000 acres. It was in Ventura and Santa Barbara counties, and it was only last December, just a short 8 months ago.
Just heartbreaking seeing that man talk about losing his home. Deborah, I'm wondering, obviously the town there, Clear Lake Oaks, as you said, is evacuated, but what is the danger tonight? Has most of the danger passed, or are they still in critical danger?
Well, every night when you would expect the fire to lay down, to sleep, as they like to say, because the temperatures drop and the humidity rises, this fire doesn't tend to go to sleep the way they would hope. So each day it wakes up earlier and it gets going, and the winds pick up in the afternoon. And so they've had fire come down behind Lucerne, behind Nice, and of course really far into Spring Valley, taking homes over the weekend, and again, as we saw today. Spring Valley had the Pawnee fire just a month ago, and the hope was that this fire would burn into that scar and stop. That hasn't happened.
Deborah Villone in Clear Lake Oaks tonight. Deborah, thank you.
All right, my royal family, before I play the next video, I got to thinking, last year when we were having these major fires, what would happen is at night the fires would jump across the highways and pick and choose the houses that they decided to go to, literally. And me and my husband was really wigged out, because, you know, I often tell the royal family to look at things with your spiritual eyes, listen with your spiritual ears. Now, if people were really listening, and I'm speaking respectful, that white man that was speaking was saying that they're getting them contained. They're not contained. It's a problem. And there's a number of problems, and you'll see as we going on why there is a number of problems. And I had said, I don't know what video, in these last days or seconds, let's say seconds, we would see things that were biblical in proportion. And that is what we are looking at, my royal family. The things that are happening across the world, the weather across the world. There is literally, the world has heated up. The polar cap is melting much, much faster than it ever have. And one thing that I am learning as I continue to do videos is I'm learning how to listen a lot better and really take in all of what's going on. And I'm learning how to even read articles and read in between the lines, because they lie to the public. They literally lie to us. And this is no joke. And I need scriptures. Y'all know how much I like for the royal family to put scriptures out. I'm always interested in prophecies and curses around this, but literally this is a purification process. That's just how I look at it at this point in my eyes, the things that are going on with these major fires here. So let's continue on.
Begin tonight with an historic wildfire set to become the largest ever in California. Reinforcements have been called in. The Army set to deploy 200 soldiers. They will be fighting fires from the air. In addition to this, the Mendocino complex fire, there are 15 other big fires in California alone right now, fed by strong winds and high temperatures, including many in the triple digits. A new fire started today in Orange County and spread quickly. It was first reported near Holy Jim Canyon Road and is being called the Holy Fire. Farther north, John Blackstone reports now.
Parts of the Mendocino complex fire are proving to be unstoppable. Firefighters in Lake and Mendocino counties ignited more backburns overnight to remove tinder-dry brush, fueling this massive wildfire. But fierce hot winds continue to whip flames into a frenzy. More than 400 square miles have been scorched, making this California's second largest fire on record. A CAL FIRE spokesperson predicts it could become the largest fire in the state's history by tomorrow. It's been hotter and drier.
Yeah, the higher temperatures, we're going back up to the high 90s. It's making for some extreme fire behavior.
The growing inferno sparked new evacuations. It's already destroyed 75 homes and threatens 9,300 structures. Farther north, near Redding, the so-called car fire has claimed a seventh life. Utility worker Jairus Ayeta died in a vehicular accident while he was trying to restore power in dangerous terrain. The fire is entering its third week with 163,000 acres burned and more than 1,000 homes lost. And as large swaths of California continue to burn, President Trump ignited a fiery debate over how to best fight these wildfires. In a tweet, the president criticized Governor Jerry Brown, saying he must allow the free flow of the vast amounts of water coming from the north to fight fires instead of it foolishly being diverted into the Pacific Ocean. This huge Mendocino complex fire is burning close to the shoreline of Clear Lake, the largest natural freshwater lake entirely within the state of California. Throughout this busy fire season, firefighters here in Northern California have not indicated that a lack of water is hampering their efforts to fight these fires or contributing to their growth. Jeff?
Okay, some good information. John Blackstone, thank you very much.
All right, my royal family.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Let me cut that down. Got one more video to show, and the video I'm going to show next is we're going to go just a little bit of a video of Trump's foolish ass, dumb ass statements. That remember, Trump said that the issues that we are having in the environment throughout the world, let alone the polar cap melting, is all a hoax. So that's a contradiction, Trump. It's a contradiction, and you don't know what the fuck you talking about as usual. You too busy worried about subjugating black people, let alone you keep your eye and all your energy on the NFL to enslave black men because you are demanding for them to stand up to bullshit. This man is foolish. He's not paying attention or dealing with what I call immediate situations. Immediate situations. All right? So, now remember, keep in mind, all this shit right here, fires, environmental, all this is a hoax. And in fact, this is California's fault too as well.
In the box. If you were wondering how long it would...
Come on, man. This bullshit. Look at that, family. 17 right down there. Boy, you can't make this stuff up. It says 17 seconds. Thank you, Father.
President Trump to weigh in on Twitter about the out-of-control wildfires. Well, this tweet came today. California wildfires are being magnified and made so much worse by the bad environmental laws which aren't allowing massive amounts of readily available water to be properly utilized. It is being diverted into the Pacific Ocean. Must also tree clear to stop fire from spreading.
Yes, thinning would be a good idea, but the question is how you thin properly.
Dr. Richard Minnick at UC Riverside says the forest is extremely overgrown.
There are way too many trees. If you're talking about water, there's your consumption of water, is that there are too many trees on the ground sucking the ground dry. That's one of the reasons the trees died en masse last year in the Sierras.
But as far as there being enough water, Minnick says there's plenty of it. Shasta is the biggest reservoir in the state, and it's more than 2/3 full right now.
It takes a couple of cities, megalopolises in California to drain one of those. over many years, not just a single fire over a week.
CAL FIRE responded to the president's tweet by saying, quote, "There is nothing to release. There are no specifics to the tweet. We have plenty of water to fight these fires. The Carr Fire has Whiskeytown Lake, Shasta Lake, and Trinity Lake, just to name a few water sources. The Mendocino complex is next to Clear Lake Lake. The current weather is causing more severe and destructive fires."
All right, let me take that down so nothing won't pop up. So, we're not surprised with Trump's rhetoric, and the only thing that I can leave y'all with, again, my royal family, as these last seconds continue to play itself out, is we will continue to see, again, natural and unnatural events in biblical proportions. I've been saying this. Many in the royal family that take the time to use their spiritual eyes and their spiritual ears, what is really going around. And we are in retrograde. Retrograde is, we are really like in the heart of retrograde right now. And it will continue to kick up a notch. And I said it was in the house of Leo, which is a fire sign. So we have heat waves throughout the world, heat waves in areas of the world that they haven't had, in some areas, centuries. Our Father is speaking. And we are too worried about petty shit, and we need to worry about our immediate situation. I kind of chuckle sometimes because when I first started mentioning retrograde, people laughed. And so the other night I was on another channel and some people was laughing. Retrograde is real. You can study it yourself. I don't know how to do no unquote hocus pocus. It's just how the planets are lined up and the magnetic force. And Mercury happens to be one of the closer planets that we feel retrograde. All the planets go in retrograde, and it affects us. Remember, my royal family, we are the most vibrational people on earth, so we have a tendency to feel things more. And when you are feeling what you are feeling, slow down and think about what I'm feeling, and don't feed into it. Remember, doing retrograde redos. One of my redos I'm going to do today, I got to clean up my room. I got to clean up my closet. I got some more drawers I can clean out. And it gives you a sense of peace and organization. I thought I would throw that in as a little bonus for the royal family and stuff. So, my royal family, render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, Ashe.